What's up, friends? It's your girl, Deanna Reese Williams, and I'm just coming on because it's been a long time since I did basically a 5-minute check-in with you all. I was actually going through all of the old vlogs. I feel like they're old. They're just from the summertime. And even though it still feels like summertime where I live, I'm like, I probably need to update people on how is this fall semester going? Well, I'm in almost the mid part of the semester, and so far, I felt like it took me a couple of weeks, maybe a solid month, to feel confident and comfortable in what I was doing online. I had taught asynchronous intro to psychology courses intro to psychology course over the summer and in the springtime, and I'm still teaching that course this current semester, but I had not taught in a synchronous space. So it is definitely challenging. It requires more prep work, but I try to just keep myself organized and using my syllabi that basically tells me like what am I going to be talking about that week. So that's just one layer. This past week was, I would say, my final conference of the year in terms of doing any presenter type of work. It was the North American Association Environmental Education Conference, NAAE, and myself and one of my very dear friends / colleagues, we presented on a topic that we're both very passionate about, nature and trauma. And we did a roundtable talk. So I feel like we've actually presented on this topic. This was our third time. And so the very first time was through Natural Start. And I believe I probably mentioned that over the summertime. And that was a pre-recording. But then we had an opportunity to basically talk about, or basically show up when the pre-recording was going to be launched, so we can engage with participants of the conference and talk about address any questions or anything in the chat. So that was really cool. And then but for the roundtable talk, we were actually live, so that was very different than what we had experienced. And then we also had an opportunity to present locally through the Zoom bubble and basically talk about this work too, and how in present day things that are going on and how to help children as children and educators as we're navigating through these times. So that's on the conference front. And I don't know if I've mentioned being a part of the working groups for the Green Schoolyards, but I've been working behind the scenes diligently in the equity group and another group. So that's been good. And then, of course, I think one of the biggest things that have happened since the last time I've checked in is that the website is launched. There's an actual DRW Facebook page. The Instagram page is alive and going. There's also a YouTube channel. My website has a blog. And the podcast is going alive and well. Completed the entire season for the Black in Nature series, and definitely there will be a part 2, season 2, in sometime 2021, in the summertime. So I'm really excited about that. And then I think that's mainly the main things. I don't know what else I could possibly update on, but I'm definitely going to take some time and just check in with you all to just let you know what's really going on. And I appreciate everyone's support. And if you don't know where to find me on the socials, I'll be sure to include that in this video. Thank you for your continued support, and be blessed in nature, friends. See you next time. What's up, friends? So I just finished doing, I guess I'm starting a series. I don't even know what's happening, but I was going to vlog, and then I basically ended up giving tips on like goal setting and bullet journaling, but I never really gave like an actual rundown of my day or the last 24 hours. So basically I'm super excited because in my emergent language and literacy course, I had the opportunity with actually having a scholar from New Zealand. Yes, you heard me. A scholar from New Zealand come to class, air quotes, come to class, and actually do a pre-recorded lecture about multi-linguistic, like language and the work that she's done, but just did like a whole entire presentation. So first off, I'm excited because she was a Fulbright scholar that I met literally about a year ago this time. She was in the Tucson area, and she came and did a lecture and presentation at the college that I worked at. And I just had this idea early on in the semester and thought, oh, it would be really cool if I can have her come to class through Zoom and actually give that same lecture she gave us back in January. But then because it's recorded, I would have it forever. So I'm really excited about that. And then also, there's just some housekeeping things that I've had to do on the college end, but I'm not really going to get into all of that. But I was just really excited about that. And then as far as, so this is where I'm at with the DRW brand. So I just met with production yesterday, again, through the Zoom bubble. Yes, through the Zoom bubble. And we are now moving into a whole nother phase of production. And so over time, it started with the City Chick series, which if you haven't seen it, you can totally check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. If you're already on my Facebook page, the Deanna Reese Williams page, or the Outback Learning page, you can find it there as well. But if you definitely want to find videos, you'll have to find it on my YouTube channel, Deanna Reese Williams, DRW. So, but we started with the City Chick series, and from there, I had been recording or saving recordings from the Facebook Lives, so then that content could be reused again later on when I'm not doing any recordings. So like moving into the holidays, like there's a lot of filming that I did over the summertime, and so a lot of that stuff is going to be coming out, so then I can have some time off and recoup and do all those things. So I'm excited because they did the City Chick series, and shout out to Angel Productions. They do the editing for all of my videos. I do all the filming. So whether it's on my phone, whether it's through the video cam, and I have a vlogging camera. Some of you guys don't know this, but I do enjoy dabbling in photography. But I find my photography tends to be either A, in nature, or B, traveling. Obviously, I'm not traveling at this point. So, but back to my point. So they have also did the editing for my DRW interview series, or DRW show. We still haven't figured out what we're calling this yet. Because honestly, it just happened. You know, it was just one of those things that really happened. And I don't really want to get into the why, because I feel like I've already kind of talked about that. But really, it was trying to find a space to be heard is not always easy. And so, especially if you're dismissed, even if you are at the table. And so that's something that I experience, I don't want to say often, but I do experience it. And I was quickly reminded in sharing this with the marketing group CEO that I work with, Monique James. Shout out to Monique James, Renegade Group, Renegade Marketing Group. I explained to her a situation that was going on, and I was asked to call one of my colleagues into a board meeting to do a presentation, and about a topic that I'm very familiar with. So either way, it doesn't matter. The reason why they were asking for this individual to show up could have been simply because they don't want board members presenting. I don't know. But at the end of the day, what I learned was you already have the space for people's voices to be elevated. You don't have to use an organization to help that voice be lifted. At the end of the day, like, I just want everyone to be heard. So if there's a way to document it, and document meaning film it, then it can be heard over and over and over and over again. So the birthing of the interviews was really so that interview could take place and we could have the conversation and not have like the presentation type of vibe, but really just talk about environmental ed. And so shout out to Ellen for taking the time to do that. And then from there, the interview was just so fun and so casual, so light. It was like, I actually like interviewing people, so why not? So I started reaching out to people within my circle of environmental educators or early childhood educators and asking them, would you be willing to do like a 30-minute interview? And surprisingly, people said yes. And the initial goal was to do like 3. We have now recorded, let's see, 1, 2, 3, I want to say 5. And we still have more on the books. Like when it's all said and done before the holidays, I will have already recorded a good 10 to 15, something like that. And we're releasing them every other week. It seems like the audience really likes them a lot. And so I want to keep that going. And that's what we're doing. You know, at the end of the day, this is what we're doing. So that's what happened on the brand side of things. Totally did not expect it, but hey, I'm gonna go with it. You got to go with what your audience wants. If they like something, then do it. And sometimes how we plan things, it may not go the way that we planned, but you adjust and you keep it moving. But I'm just excited because there are other projects that I'm planning to do as I'm moving forward, and meaning actually starting to move towards the services that I talk about on my actual website. And so since the last time all of us connected, my website had just come out in July, but the Facebook page has been out for like 5 weeks. And by the time this video is out, I want to say the Facebook page will be out for 3 or 4 months at that point. But like I said, I want to document the journey and what I'm doing and what I'm going through. So that's what's happening there. And also I had the pleasure, and I don't know if I mentioned this in Sunday's vlog or not, but the opportunity of presenting at NAAWE, which I have a feeling I already mentioned that. But what's on the horizon for tomorrow? Well, I have class, and it'll be very interesting because we are shifting to more of an asynchronous type of vibe at this point. I'm trying to adjust because the lighting is like really in my face. And so we're trying, I'm making some adjustments. So I think the key is like when teaching or working with people, like you have to pay attention to the audience, and it's hard to show up to class and like nobody's participating when the whole point of showing up is to participate. So I'm like, guys, we got to change some things. So I've been diligently making that shift. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. And what else is going on? I just feel like there's so many things going on, but it's hard to capture. Let me look at my bullet journal. It'll tell me. We are planning, let's see. Oh, we had grading that was due last week. But as far as like on the family front, we have been getting outdoors. So as you know, the current, look, I've heard the word unprecedented times so many times. I don't want to use that word, but we finally started getting out around early September. And so we are talking about going fishing again, but at a different lake, and perhaps going camping. I don't know. So, but that's pretty much it. And I guess at this point, well, in the state of Arizona, we have the option to do mail-in ballots. So that's like a big thing that's happening this week in our household. So that's pretty much it. That's my only update for today. I don't really feel like I could go on for days, but I like to keep these short and sweet, under 10 minutes. So, all right. That was today's check-in. We'll do this all again tomorrow, friends. Continue to be blessed in nature. See you next time. What's up, friends? It's your girl, Deanna Reese Williams, the DRW brand, and I I am just trying to give like a day-to-day update. So as I said in the last two vlogs, that I had taken a break from vlogging for a number of reasons, because as an instructor and you're starting a new semester and trying to do everything, whether it's synchronous or asynchronous, there takes a time where you just have to adapt. So a lot of things were happening behind the scenes. So let me just give a little rundown about today. Today was, I would say, I don't know, fairly easygoing. Wednesdays usually are pretty busy for me, which it was still busy. It was busy, but I didn't make it to every single meeting that I was scheduled for because I just ended up spending time doing some other things. But I did spend a lot of time really trying to focus on how to advise my students this coming semester for the spring semester. So a lot of my energy right now, I feel like, is really with the college, because if you've never attended college, or maybe you haven't been in this type of role, you know, at some point, midpoint in the semester, you're already planning for the next semester. And so I'm in that space at this point. There's always something going, right? So today I really needed to sit down and really develop a plan for how students can complete their early childhood degree program in a reasonable, like in 2 years. I had to sit down and legitimately figure that out. So I finally did that part of it today, thankfully. And I also had to figure out, if I had students that were not full-time, they were part-time, like what does that look like? Like how many semesters is that going to take for them to complete their program? So I was spending a lot of time really typing everything up. So one of the tips that I'm going to be talking about when I do, I'm in the midst of doing like a series about different tips and things that I do to keep myself organized. But here's the deal. And this may be a sign of my age, who knows? But I still tend to do everything in a notebook. And I like to write out my thoughts and then type them up. Not that I'm not capable of typing them. I am totally capable of doing it. I've done it before. Gone through 2 graduate programs without note-taking of any sort. But I'm just finding, for me, at this point, there's something about writing it down. I don't know why, it just organizes me better than trying to organize it on the computer. So that's just the approach that I'm taking. So I literally wrote out, I needed to pull up the actual like program of studies, and then from there was able to see visually like, oh, this course needs to happen in the fall, this one needs to happen in the spring, what courses do I recommend in the summertime? And so once I figured that out, then I was like, okay, I can type this up. So it's just visually, that's what I needed to do. So I'm also in the process of helping students like declare their majors, like many colleges. And look, I'm just going to speak from my experience, but if you're a parent or an educator or a student, you probably can relate, or you're probably wondering why like certain systems aren't already in place. But the reality is that a lot of colleges, and I'll just speak for the one that I'm at, we didn't have a lot of things like digitally, they weren't digital yet. And so they are now. And so students at some point were not able to declare their major digitally. And so if you don't have a printer or a way to do that form to where you can print it, sign it, and then scan it back, then that was a struggle. So I finally have the digital form. And so I'm just trying to create my advisement packet. So, because based off of the numbers, I'm like, all of my students have not declared their majors. So it's like something has to give here. So I'm creating that space, and then also deciding, when do we want to have like advisement groups? So just developing a plan. That's really what it boils down to. So that's what a lot of my energy, I felt like today, went towards advisement. I did have class today. And, I was really thankful because with this particular class, I'm teaching 4 courses, and this one is a synchronous course, and we meet every week. And basically, I noticed about 2 weeks ago, and really it was about a month or so ago, that the engagement level in this course was really, really low. And when you see that, it's like you need to make a change. And so although I wanted us to do these like wonderful, amazing discussions in class, like students weren't engaging whether I was talking or if they were in a breakout session. And so it's hard to like provide a group grade when if there's 5 people in a group and only one person is prepared to talk, or maybe that one person is the one that's doing the talking and the note taking, but they're really just communicating with themselves because no one else in the group is doing it. I'm like, we can't do breakout sessions anymore. It just was not effective. And so I was really excited today because I said this to the students 2 weeks ago. We will still come together every week because we're required to, but it's going to look a lot different. Everything will be in the module for them to do. And not that we can't have class discussion. I want to discuss like how this could look moving forward, but we certainly can't do what we were doing before. It just wasn't working. And so I'm excited because the students were able, and let me just say this, there's supposed to be like 15 students in class and 5 showed up. Like, that's reality. But with the 5 that showed up, I was really thankful because I feel like we were able to develop a plan moving forward. And again, like, are other professors doing this? I don't know. Like, this is just what works for me, you know? Yes, like we're still going to go through the topics that I had planned originally. It's just the delivery and how it's going to look is just going to look different. It is what it is. But we've decided that we will do housekeeping things like any announcements, whatever, advisement things at the beginning of the class. And then I'm going to see if I can have people come and actually talk to the class about something related to the field. So I'm really excited about that. And the students appeared to be excited about that. They were really, I'm not going to say all of them were bummed that the discussion posts were going to completely be online, but they were just like, oh, so we're not going to talk about it. And really it was just like one student that felt that way, but I felt like we were able to have a compromise. And I said, look, module will be up today and you have a week to do it. We will discuss it in class after the module is done. So, so a week later, we'll talk about what the module had in place basically this week. So that was one part. And then I just had like a really good conversation with one of my dear friends. It was just so good to talk with her, and I'm just glad to have good people in my life. So, but now moving into the evening time, business wise, on the production side of things, I have to take the time, and I don't have to, but no, I do have to. I have to at least create a list on what videos I want to have edited first. So when marketing is going to market these videos, we can put them out. So in a timely manner. So that's where I'm at business wise. Just working on, and I'm sure you can hear everything in the background. I'm really working on trying to make sure that the 2 teams that I'm working with marketing and production, that they're in sync. And so a lot of that requires, again, a lot of planning. And what is my vision? What are my outcomes that I'm saying to the marketing company? So then when we market things, it's appropriate. But I'm really excited because we've just been, I don't know, I've just been busy really trying to define what is this first quarter going to look like. I'm in the 4th quarter, and it's like what is this first quarter of the year looking like, and I'm having to plan like how am I providing consultation services for future clients and mentoring people and mentoring clients, I should say. So I have to develop all these behind the scene things, and that's what's happening in the 4th quarter is a lot of, I'm in the development stages of the first quarter. And so I'm excited because I'm 5 months into the DRW plan. And I'm just ready. I'm excited. And then on top of that, I have to start thinking about Outback. So that's where I'm at. As far as the family, I'm like, what are we doing this weekend? Oh, still doing the fall purge. Fall purge is like clearing out things. So we're still doing that. We're still like in a very interesting transition, getting things in order. But other than that, I'm just like, that's what today has to bring. Tomorrow should be like a nice, I'm not going to say chill. Well, it'll be chill. And that's mainly because I don't have any meetings tomorrow. I don't have class until 4 o'clock. So I'm really thankful about that. That means I have more time to work on other projects for the school. So hopefully I'll have all of my advisement stuff in order, because that's the plan. And I'll give you all an update tomorrow. So, all right, be blessed in nature, friends. Take care. Bye. What's up, friends? It's your girl, Deanna Reese Williams, DRW brand, also educator operator of Outback Learning LLC. Today, I don't have a tip, but I just wanted to touch base with you all because yesterday I was supposed to vlog and it was just one of those days that didn't happen that way. But for once, I kind of wanted to be like in a different setting because all week I've been at that desk. So I'm actually en route to, I'll just take you guys along, okay? I'll show a little footage. But just to recap yesterday, I started my day, I was up by 9, at a meeting at 10, and it was one of those like Zoom meetings where you needed to be present, but you didn't necessarily have to do anything. I'm just being honest. So I felt really productive. By the way, I just want to say this, like, I think this is going to be the last day I can get away with wearing this Stetson hat. Because we'll finally feel like fall in the last week of October. I'm saying that because we have been rocking with 90 degrees since like March. But anyways, so I had a meeting, and then, I guess on the higher end perspective, it was just a very productive day. Like, I just went for a Friday, like I worked all the way till almost 5 o'clock in the evening, which is not really typical, but there was just a lot of projects I needed to get done. On the higher ed end, like if you're in higher ed, shout out to you. You probably will understand this, but we have what's called Faculty Senate. So I'm on the Faculty Senate. Everyone's in Faculty Senate, but I serve as the secretary. So I needed to make sure like last week's meeting notes were submitted. So I needed to make sure that I did that. I also needed to work on some assessment pieces. There's just things, another role. It's kind of like when people get into politics, they're thinking like, oh, I'm just going to serve in this capacity and like work in my community. And then you realize like you get into it and you're going, oh, I have to serve on these committees too. Yeah, that's pretty much what it boils down to. That's how higher ed works. So you end up serving in different committees and different capacities to help keep the actual college or university that you work for. You have to keep things going. So we have a huge assessment or accreditation, Higher Learning Commission, HLC, coming out in February. So there's just like a lot of deadlines and things that we have to get done, like bottom line, has to get done. So being on the assessment team or being the chairperson for that, I just feel like we are just trying to plow through tasks. And yeah, so assessment, Arizona is one of those states where, so I want to say this to all the parents. I just want to put this out there. I'm not saying do not start your children at a 4-year university. I'm not saying that at all. You can do what you want to do. It's your money, whatever. But what I want to share with people is the way that the system is designed is really for people to go to community college first, then go to the university. I'm saying that because there's what's called Arizona transfers. I'll try to remember to link the link below. I don't know of how many other states have this this like translation articulation between community colleges and state universities. But it's important to know that, because I was first generation that went to college, and so there's a lot of things that we just didn't know 19 years ago. But I know more now, obviously being in higher ed, but even as a parent and just navigating through higher ed as a student. But there's just things that you just don't know. And so I found myself, like, I was one of those first generation, went to a state university in Texas, and then I later ended up going to community college, loved it. Shout out to St. Philip's Community College. Wouldn't be the early childhood professional that I am if it wasn't for St. Philip's. So I have to say that. But my point is that, you know, not that I did anything wrong or my parents did anything wrong, but community colleges are absolutely way more affordable than going to university. But if you're able to at least get your gen ed courses, and if you're a high school student and your high school offers like college courses, or you can go to your local community college to get those courses paid for in your district, do it. Or if you can, or like family or scholarships or whatever you have to do, or you may even qualify for a grant, like take advantage of those things. Get those courses done. I cannot tell you how many students I had over the summertime taking intro to psychology course, and they were going into their senior year of high school. That is important to know. And the reason why I'm saying that is because these are the same students they're getting ahead. And, you know, I love them dearly, because they were like, my parents making me take this course. And of course I'm like, oh, to be 17 again. I hate it that my parents made me do such things. But 20 years later, I'm thankful that they made me do certain things, because I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for them planting those seeds. So back to my day. So the rest of the day was really just like the other project I was working on for assessment, just looking through their course catalog and figuring out some things. That was a big piece. Going to end up finishing up that piece of the project on Monday. And that kind of concludes as far as like my daytime stuff. But I want to touch on tomorrow, probably for next week's vlog. I started reading a book. I know. And I'm one of those people, like, when I read things, I don't really do like leisure reading. I'm more or less like, I like to read things that are going to cause me to do something. So like back in the day, remember all those books like How to Start a Business for Dummies? Like, I'm that person that wants to read that stuff and then like apply the skills. So this book that I'm reading currently is called Vlog Like a Boss. So obviously I'm vlogging. I've did a lot of vlogs over the summertime, but when I look at like that content versus the content now, it's really interesting, because some things I just had to learn. I just learned on my own. But, you know, when you decide to start going into business, or whether you want to be an entrepreneur or whatever you want to do, like, there is a time that you have to start developing those skills. Like, don't get me wrong, like, you can just totally go off the cuff and that's totally fine. Like, it's good content. It'll still be out there for people to review. But I appreciate these influencers that have taken the time to write these books, because there are people like myself that didn't necessarily grow up with social media platforms. So how I navigate through social media versus how a lot of these influencers navigate through it, it's very different. Because when social media became a thing, I was already an adult, not necessarily in a career, but I just didn't know like vlogging was a thing, like blogging was a thing then. So anyways, I'm reading this book, and it's by, I think it says, her first name is Amy, but she has since then gotten married. But anyways, I'll link it down below for the end of this vlog. But anyways, I'm just going to take you guys along to where I'm going, and then I'm just going to close out this vlog, and I hope you guys had an amazing week. I'm feeling reprieved and refreshed, like it's the weekend, and instead of doing the fall purge in this house, like I actually today had a really, I just love, you ever have those conversations with friends, like friends that you don't get to talk to every day, but like you have that moment of which you guys get to talk and you talk for like hours. As a parent, well, as a wife and a parent, that doesn't happen very often. But I will say, in the times of what we're living in, like, my family is very understanding. Like, sometimes I can't talk to people at night when everybody goes to bed because that's just not always an option. But sometimes those conversations can't happen until like Saturday morning, you know, or midday Saturday. We didn't have any plans, so it was just great. I'm just trying to go to Zojo's Grace. That's what I'm trying to do. Tried to go yesterday. But anyways, all right, I'm going to take you guys along for this journey. This is a little bit longer of a vlog than what I normally do. But see, this is what happens when I'm not in the Zoom bubble. I can just like think and breathe. All right, next clip, or however we put this in order, you'll see a little bit of where I'm at. So, all right, bye friends. Continue to be blessed in nature. Till next time. All right, I told you guys I would film inside, but it was just kind of awkward to do that. But I'm super excited. I just got my first Zojo like kit here, and basically it's a graze board, but like in a tiny portion. So I'm able to try what Zojo has to offer, the grazing, but at basically affordable price. So, so we went with the quiche and spinach, and then like quiche and chorizo with fruit. And I want to say there's a cheese inside of it, but definitely based off of what I saw, I need to get here at the right time. But all right, that's all I'm going to close out for now. But I hope you all have a fabulous weekend or a fabulous weekend, depending on when this is released. And I'll catch you guys next time. Continue to be blessed in nature. Bye.